Rightio, welcome back everyone. Season 2, Episode 1, just in time for All Stars. So thought we'd try and grab one of the All Stars players that have been involved with the week and give us a little bit of an insight into what the week entails for the players and everyone involved. And lucky enough to have one of the best to ever do it, Benny Barber, with us. How you going, brother?
Good.
A little bit of lag there. Just let us know, guys, in the comments if you can hear Benny. But we'll roll in. Just a little bit of what you're doing now, brother. Where you're living and how's our life's sort of been for you.
Yeah, look, I've been back in Mackay now. Played a footy here for a couple. Just signed to head up to Cairns and play up to check the comp up there. So there and a bit of a sea change and goes all right and might enjoy it.
Now, North Queensland, big area. So, how far is it from Mackay up that way? Because for us, we just think it's down the road, But is it?
It's a good 7.5, 8 hour drive to Cairns. It's sort of like 3-4 to town to Cairns. So, and then I think Moss drive from Cairns. Yeah, a bit of travelling. It's not a part of the beautiful part of the world.
And when will you make a trek, brother? And who's the club that you signed up with up there? Give them a little bit of a plug too.
Yeah, the team's on Port Douglas Sharks. Basically, they're just Torres Strait Island, the team. As I said, a lot of my coaches, I think Waterloo this year, down in the knockout. We played at Walgett. Yeah, they got me up there after the check it all out. Listen.
Can you hear me, Benny?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, brother. Yeah. I don't know what happened there. I'm guessing I think my connection fell out here in the shed. But yeah, back on to, so you're going down to Port Douglas, obviously. So when was the last time you played league officially, brother? Like when the NRL let you sort of sign up again? Because you've been playing a little bit of AFL and soccer too, I'm hearing, eh?
Yeah, I didn't play last the year before that here in Mackay for my Lost Devils. So wanted a bit of a change. Mossman looked good, so thought
got my dog here going off in the background just at the right time. It's going good.
All good.
So what are you doing with yourself now, brother? Like before you're heading up there, what sort of work you been doing?
I've actually been scaffolding for that since I've been back. Out here, it keeps the rolls off healthy. So bit of tough work, but coming from being footy to having to work for the money, it was a bit of a change, but it was all new to me. So yeah.
And brother, like, obviously don't want to harp on any of the negative stuff, but I want to ask the impact that sort of had on your life. And you talk about money, you know what I mean? How do you get yourself up day in, day out to knowing what you had and where you were in the game, the stature that you had in the game, my brother? Like, you were top of the tree. I mean, if we're talking contracts now to negotiate and all the, the stuff with the Players Association and new contracts and everything coming up, now you would have definitely been in the top 10 paid players in the game. How does that sort of affect you, and what sort of person are you mentally, brother? Because you had it all. Like, I mean, you were there for a long time too, but you still had so much more to give. Who
Look,
gets you by day in, day out as well, with that sort of stuff, fighting them sort of battles with yourself?
Yeah, look, I've got that. Continue makes me go to work for and to provide for them. So, like I said, I've gone through some trouble still, even lucky enough, mum and dad who and a lot of that sort of have helped me. And there's certain times and certain times when you sort of think back and you get people sending you memory names and past and especially this one. I sort of sit back and basically say, oh shit, like, so I still think personally if I was still trying around, so I said it's hard, but I guess I've made my, that's what I sort of try and say, and beautiful daughters that I've still got to look after. And
yeah, and see you spend a little bit of time with your daughters and that too, brother. Will they go with you, or will they stay with mum? And how often will you visit as well, being 8 hours away? That's going to be a hard little battle for you too, eh?
Yeah, it is. We're a little bit older now. The youngest ones. So yeah, look, I've just from Mackay, and I'll travel up. Hopefully, every couple of weeks I'll be brought out a new nuts from Cairns to Mackay. So it seems I'll try and get down here as much as possible and place up in Cairns and Douglas. So I'll try and get them up there and to all the swimming holes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, nice. Now, just to the mob out there on Insta, my yellow duck that I link Insta and stream through Insta has crashed on me. So that's why you only seen me, and you can probably hear Benny, but you can't see him. If you want to see the yarn, jump on to our GameChangers Podcast page on Facebook, and we've also got a little one on YouTube. We've only done one on there with Willie Tonga late last year, so this is the second one on there. So if you want to see the yarn on Facebook and on YouTube as well, let's have a little yarn about the week over here. Obviously, first time over in New Zealand, brother, so it'll be awesome for the brothers and sisters over there to, be entrenched in the Māori culture as well. What is the week like? There's a lot of promotional stuff, but for the people that have never been there and love their footy, what does a week entail from sort of the time you jump off or come into camp to when you play?
I've always said it's I think any young Indigenous player or woman Indigenous lady. I used to love heading into camp because you get to spend time with some of that I looked up to. But itself, obviously, it's going to be a little bit different this year. But just a chance to get back. Had the learner and the legend. I'm not too sure with the All Stars campaign. Just the times we got to spend with is at the water parks and all that sort of stuff. From it makes you actually gives you that sort of that energy and that boost. Seeing the smiles of people's face and yeah, as I said, wonderful boost. And I think I was recently and I think the other day I see some of the boys go fishing, so we never got to. It looks like they're having fun over there, and I go over to New Zealand and sort of give back to that because they're as I said, and a bit like but our people.
You reach out or the boys reach out to you and you chat to a lot of them sort of fellas that you played a lot of footy with over the years, especially the brothers. Obviously, you sort of spent some good times, and when a lot of the brothers make it, they try and look after each other as well because there's, percentage-wise, not a lot of brothers and sisters that sort of go through and make it as well for various reasons. But yeah, do you reach out? Is there any other players that you're still pretty close with?
Yeah, there's a obviously chat. I think I just got Matty Bowen the other day as part of the coaching staff, so pretty close with in contact with Townsville, and obviously so we had a bit of a friendship before. Look, it's when you sort of cross paths and see him, it's all about the times we spent in camp and just how much fun we had to them.
Does that sort of stuff make you sad when you hear all the brothers, or do you just happy and you pinch yourself because you went through all that too, buddy? You experience things that people can only dream of too,
Yeah, but as you said, he was lucky enough to experience those. One thing I'll never forget. I'll always be Holden Clan. Now, look, I watching these other lads come through now that I have contact with like Cody, to outside of the game. See, watching them, but look, that stuff just makes me so proud and showing and them how much proud about culture, and it sort of gives me that boost to keep going during the day.
Yeah, and growing up, who were your idols, brother? Who'd you support and who'd you sort of look up to?
Yeah, all over the place. I actually went to Parramatta and then stayed with Parramatta for quite. The Bulldogs came along when I was 8. But before idols, the game a little bit more. Steve Renouf was looked at, like I said, Matty and Preston. Smaller stature, but had as hard as anyone else on the field. So those are high and high.
Yeah, nice. I'm just getting a little bit of feedback that people saying you're cutting in and out a little bit. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes anyway, Benny. But What about these fixtures on the weekend? You talked about Presto. I was going to try and reach out to Dino and get Presto because it'd be interesting to think like what Presto thinks about all the players that are sort of pulled out in that term. I spoke to you a little bit off air about the impact that that has. I know it gives opportunities for the younger fellas coming into camp that they probably never thought they'd get for another 4 or 5 years, but does it also diminish the game? What do we do to make sure that all the players can play in it and want to play in it? Because you've got brothers like Fox and that are, proud of who they are, but are pulling out of these sort of fixtures that, he's a player that you never ever would have thought would pull out of this. But obviously there's going to be, different reasons, but I read something about Tony Kemp saying that maybe clubs are putting pressure on him to pull out because it's, early in the year and they want to protect him and don't want him injured and that sort of stuff. So for me, I was only talking to Walsh and them about it the other day. Do we move it to the end of the year? So, if people do get injured, they're getting minor surgeries and stuff in the off season anyway. What do you think about that, brother?
I think that's always been a tough one. Obviously, with whenever I got the chance to play, no matter what. So, but and the game's changing, so I'm going to be a little bit wary about sending this stuff. But look, it's when I sort of hear them questions, you probably play out at the end of the year, and who's gone on holiday. It's sort of on where you want to play it, but at the end of the day, it's picked in that game, and I know I just came back from a. I think he said his body wasn't feeling. Look at the end of the day, that's probably the hard questions ask himself, but look, give a chance to see some young players, another young Mackay lad as I Tass, he got called as cousin here, so with Fox pulling out, it's given him an opportunity back up here. So look at Fox would have won the play that he's made, and we're going to stand back next year. Lad.
Yeah. Knockouts, obviously, still, we saw you got your wax shirt on there too, but is there an opportunity, before we sort of let you go, I don't want to keep you too long, appreciate any time you give us one, brother, but is there an opportunity for you still, and have you ever thought about Super League, or I know someone talked about America or something like that early on, only because obviously the people that still watch you play know that you could still walk out here and play in NRL, no worries, based on what we see you doing in the Corey Knockouts and the Murray Carnivals and different things like that. Have you tinkered with that? Have you still got a manager representing you, or have you just backed off and gone, well, I'm just content, I'm happy with where I am, I don't really want to think about that and get false hope or anything like that? What sort of goes through your mind in terms of that sort of stuff, brother?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It was always there, whether I wanted to try and present the band in Australia, places in the world. So I basically only allowed to play Queensland Rugby League this time. I'm pretty content with just living my life now these days. As 4 or 5 years out of the game now, and just going to footy and fun, and not having any pressure on you, or having to just going there and having to be with my mates, and so I still want to pursue it, but with what I'm doing these days and taking it easy.
Yeah, brother. What about these games on the weekend with the changes? What do you see? I mean, when we look at the lineups, the Multi All Stars look like they got a strong pack, but the brothers look silky out wide. What's your take on it, and where do you think it'll be won and lost?
I think that's always whatever All Stars team was picking. You just have Big Georgie and I think one year we actually Dane Nielsen come on as back. Look, as I said, that's always the case, and as you said, the Kiwis have I think it comes down to today with the Maldives and the indigenous cultures. I think passionate and hard at the end will sort of, as you said, we've got the side and then we've got the big forward packs. So because anything can happen. Last couple of matches that I can't pick them, but I can't seem towards the indigenous side, and they can just half match it with their codes and Latrell to do their stuff. I think we might be able to get them over there.
Because I think the Indigenous All Stars are favourites for the game. Based on the amount of stars that the Multi All Stars had pull out as well. With Waria Hargraves and Manu leading that list. Like some massive names come out for them, and then some relatively unknown young fellas there too. They'd get an opportunity. Now, for me, I'm thinking, it could be anything, but how proud these fellas are of their culture, regardless of their age. So they're going to come out there and play their arts out for their mob. In terms of score, I'm thinking anywhere from sort of 12 to 16 Indigenous, only because I feel like the young fellas from Multi All Stars will step up and have a crack, but probably just get blown away a little bit late. Fitness, how do you think it'll be won and lost, my brother? Come on, don't sit on the fence.
I think around 20 to 12 or 20 to 8, Indigenous side will come out pretty, and I think we'll actually pretty close, but at the back end might get them with the young chance to prove themselves. Big stage, and which they might not get again. For knows they could come out and wind up with them. But yeah, I'm looking at like 20 to the Indigenous and 12 to the.
Yeah, nice. Also, there's a touch footy game there, so Indigenous All Stars versus Multi All Stars as well. Just want to shout out to a couple of young fellas from up Newcastle here. Floydie Ty played knockouts there with Moree Boomies and won a knockout with the All Blacks, but also played with the Yowies. So Floydie, good luck to him. And then for us personally, Taimana Ellis is the school captain at the school where I work, young fella. He's also the youth ambassador, so he was always going over there with that youth summit as an ambassador, and he was lucky enough to get selected in that at like 17 as well. So big shout out to those guys. You play much touch, brother? Coming through the grades. My young fellas play a bit now, and we never played. So I was talking to Brad about it the other day. We're at a carnival with our kids, and just wish that we did, when we were younger. But just league. What about you? Lost you there, Benny.
Yeah, I played a little bit, as much. So I think sort of young kids. I've had a few games growing up, but took control of my life and put time to that.
Yeah, nice. And do you watch much of the footy these days, brother, or do you try and switch off from it? Like, how do you spend your weekends? And are there any players that you like following or teams that you like following?
Look, I still try as much as I can. I obviously still got to stop with them and win the comp there. And in 26, they're sort of my team now. But as I said, I keep naming and coach. Mind watching South as well if I have a second team. As I said, just seeing them for their community and how proud it's. As I said, it gives you that that sort of that proud feeling in your heart that when you play with. So yeah, but I try not to watch. I really don't like watching footy with people that talk about it and go. I sit there and go, how much pressure get these poor fellas are going. One thing I hate doing is if I want to watch a game, phone in a room by myself, so I really hear all the rubbish that they're coming from. Yeah, that's about it.
Fellas who never walked out there, eh? What about the women's game? You watch much of the women's game, brother? Obviously, the stature of that has grown as well. They're talking about, they've been fighting Nudo on them with the Players Association, been doing a bit with the women's as well, trying to get them, fair deals and that sort of stuff as well. Are there any players in the women's game? Give them a plug that you like watching as well.
Honestly, don't watch too much of it. Look, I think there's that I sort of had a yarn to. Shalula Talet, she plays halfback for the Indigenous side. So a few games up here for the Gold Stars. So hopefully she can lead them around and lead them. But yeah, she's a young these ways too. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Before I let you go to obviously Birdie's 50 today. Birdie's birthday today, Greg Bird. I was talking to him earlier. He said to say good day to you as well. I said you're good father.
Tell him I said hello.
Yeah, happy birthday, Bird man.
Yeah.
Happy 50th. Anything else before you leave us, brother? Like, are there any players, any young fellas that you feel we should keep an eye on or that excite you? Give them a plug. Anyone coming through? And then I'll ask you one last question after you answer this one.
Yeah. See, we were speaking about him before, young Brett from up here too. Last day that you did last year. Redcliffe now played a trial of the week. He's named again the player. This was a young fellow that I've had a lot to do with growing, and he's done really well for himself in the knockout and go to the reg train. It's hard, like his dad did, and yes, he's got a lot of talent to make the most of it.
Is there any one player that you feel reminds you of you nowadays?
Probably hard to say. I don't feel I'm too much older than some of these lads. Nah, you got not too sure. But look, it's kind of hard. If I could pick one, I don't mind. Who's been bloggers. He maybe reminds me a little bit of me. Not a very big lad, but yeah, America and does
Who's that, brother?
his job. So,
who's that?
Dane Laurie.
Oh yeah.
So I enjoy it and do his thing for West Tigers as well. So too many because a lot of these fullbacks running around 7 foot. There's not too many of us these days. So,
Yeah.
All ones.
Now, before we let you go, obviously we appreciate your time, brother. One of the greatest to ever do it. You know, regardless, only 2 men ever won the Man of Steel and the Dally M, and you're one of them. You know, so you've done a lot of things that a lot of people have never done in their lives. You were at the top of the tree, brother. You're the man on everyone's lips, and you will always be respected by the league community. Before we let you go, is there a message for young fellas, obviously coming through? What do you think they should focus on if they want to take the next step and they want to make it? And also, when they're there, what do they need to do to make sure they don't take it for granted, you know, and let opportunities slip?
Yeah, big thing is never to give. I didn't really play on a rep side until I made the Bulldogs sort of thing. So teams work hard. One thing when I train in my local team is to listen. The biggest, most listen, because even to this, and then you never know, someone might, and it'll help. So yeah, that's that I sort of do these days when you're there, and if you're lucky enough to make, I think the same thing you can, because forever, only a select few make it so long, especially from me. I can say I can do so. Enjoy it too. It can get so stressful sometimes, and I think it's too much, but and enjoyment out of what you're doing and why you play. So yeah, if I can give a message, that'll be it.
What was the best experience that you had out of all of them, or a couple of the best experiences, and why, brother?
All Stars is obviously one of the there. Obviously, as I said, because JT and Princey and Gio, all these legends of the game that were in high school. You know what I mean? And sort of their careers and other experiences is the grand finals winner. They're in other ways you can't explain to anyone that goes on and what is put into it. So got a whole pretty high.
Who's the best you played with, and who's the best you played against?
I'd have to say, yeah, he's the best. Yeah.
Against
and with.
And with, yeah.
I can't. Yeah, it's so long. And then when they had the big three, as a fullback, that was probably that you'd have to and doing your video and study stuff as assignments against Melbourne when Billy
What's the biggest thing you miss about being around the brothers, around the boys, around the clubs, around them good old fellas that are the stalwarts that have been there, that know the DNA of each club, you know, and you would have been around a few of them. You went to England as well, but what's the hardest thing and the biggest thing you miss about being in the setup, brother?
Just that you months training with and going to war with and the friendships that you make with that you know will last forever, and with that side in Cronulla. I still think a fair few of us still and talk on a chat when we can, and that's probably the main thing. It's just with the lads that you knew while you're on the field and vice versa.
Yeah. All right, brother. We appreciate your time, as mentioned, and all those beautiful things I said about you before. All the things you've been through as well to keep in the shape. In the shape, you're still fit. That you are in the headspace, brother. But I want to wish you all the best in the future. And know.
Thank you, brother.
Always keep this in mind. You inspired a lot of these fellas that are doing it today too, my brother. You will always be remembered as one of the greatest to ever do it. And we appreciate you for coming on.
That.
And we'll see you at the Corrie Knockout next year, eh?
Yeah. Hopefully.
I'm sure. All right. Thanks for coming on, brother.
No
appreciate
worries,
it. Say good day to Az too. Say good day to Az for me.
Will do, brother.
Thank you. All right, guys. There you go. One of the greatest to ever lace them up. Would have matched them in any era, in my opinion. And he had it all. And, he's got the silverware as well. A lot of people go through their career, don't play in grand finals, don't play in semi-finals. He won a grand final. He represented his people on 5 or 6 occasions. He won a Dally M as the best player in the competition. He went overseas and he won a Man of Steel. Only 2 men ever done it, Gavin Miller and Ben Barber. So you can't take that away from him. As we take you out tonight, Monday is a special day for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. It's the 15-year anniversary of the apology to the stolen generation. And as we go out tonight, I'll play a little clip and in memory of them old fellas that went through what they went through. Next week on the show, we got Ryan Offman from the Melbourne Storm, former Melbourne Storm, New South Wales and Australian player. And then the week after, we got Andy Raymond from Unfiltered Podcast and done a lot of sports media for over 20 years as well. He's reached out to him and he's agreed to come on too. So that's good that someone like that, sort of got back to me as well. And he said in a couple of weeks when he gets a lot of his business out of the way, he's going to come on for a yarn and give us a few tips, and we'll talk to him about his career as well. But Ryan Offman next week, Andy Raymond the week after. We're going to bring it to you bigger and better this year. So come along for the ride. Thank you. That's number 1 in the bank for season 2. We're going to play this little tune on the way out now for all our old ones, part of the stolen generation. Thanks for joining us again tonight. Thanks, guys.